Hi, how are you? So I'm going to be doing a live on Whoopi Goldberg actually. And if you want to come on live, let me know. Let me know, okay? Because I think if you want to come on live, let me know. Let me know, okay? Because I think back our power, and we need to talk about how that looks. So I'm just waiting for people to just jump on. And if they don't jump on, I'll just jump off. Anyway, hi Yessie. Thanks again for what you did for our beautiful sister. Sorry I missed the ceremony. I was able to talk to our sister privately before, so that's good. But I am going to ask you to share the live. Hello, happy to hear your voice. Me too. Well, I wish I could hear yours. But we're going to talk about Whoopi Goldberg. It's been really bothering me for a while. And I think we need to go ahead and start telling these stars to The View. I think the show is called The View. It's probably an incredibly toxic matriarch show. Angry, pissed off older women. I'm one of them, but I'm not angry. I'm just angry at the 1%, but I'm certainly not pissed off and bitter. So you've got judgmental old broads, and I'm going to say it like that, and I have a right to. I'm an elder, so I have a right. Old broads that haven't been laid in dog years, who have decided that they're going to talk shit to the Gen Xers and the millennials. I recently saw, hey Venus, Healing Hands, good to see you. So we're going to talk about Whoopi Goldberg, and we need to start marshaling our powers to push back when we have boomers like Whoopi Goldberg, who's decided that she's right and you're wrong. You, meaning you millennials and you Gen Xers. Okay? And we need to talk about that because this is very damaging, because what it's doing is doing a split between boomers, elders who have intelligence, compassion, understanding, applauding and supporting what the Gen Xers and the millennials are doing. Because when they see a Whoopi Goldberg with her demeanor, like she's some hippie chick, and she's not, coming out and saying that you're lazy, that's why you can't own a house. She started actually, she was born in 1955. 27 years later, she became professional in the industry. 27 years later of her birth. So that means that in her and I remember hearing that she was doing stand-up when she was 19 and getting paid in New York. Okay? So that means to me that for a long time, she may have had odd jobs, but it did not become her life like it did for many of us who were boomers. And unlike you and me, she probably hasn't bought her groceries personally to realize the prices have gone up. She has been sitting on millions for so long that when she made the comment of, you're lazy, get a fucking job. Basically, that's what she said. And on the screen, leaned in like she was saying something brilliant to shame the Gen Xers and the millennials who are sitting and living in their car, who work for the state of California, state of New York, state of Michigan, it doesn't matter, the state of somewhere, and they can't afford an apartment, but they work for the state. That's how little they make for a living, and they have to live in their car. But she wouldn't know that, you see, because she's not on TikTok or Instagram and looking at that kind of content, because she is the kind of let him eat cake personality. The last time she probably saw her grocery prices when she was probably 19, 20, 25 years old. And she must have this delusion that this is still what we're paying for groceries, gas, and housing. Clearly. Okay? And the fuckery of these people who are that age, again, let me remind you, I'm a boomer saying that about a boomer, a famous boomer, who should really shut up. If anything, she should have used her platform on The View to say, shame on you, Oprah and Rock, for coming to the working class poor, which means most of you are working 2 jobs. Not all of you. This is also going to be uploaded on YouTube, so it's going to be pre-recorded. Many of you are blessed to have your own business, your own situation, a fantastic career. Many of you. By the way, on the side note, that's why many of you actually have the luxury to think about spiritual, esoteric matters. But here she is going on a show called The View, which is probably the most toxic matriarch show I have ever watched. I haven't watched that show in probably 20 years. And I've seen from snippets that come on my feed, it's not getting any better. So again, old broads that have not been laid in dog years. That's what we're looking at right now. And these women, instead of being very high priestess, very goddess energy, they are actually toxic matriarch who are only doing a divide and conquer dialogue on their show. They have a platform, but they're not using it to talk about the 1%, because they are. They're not using it to talk about poverty or the Marshall Plan that Kennedy has. They're not talking about that grocery prices are up the wazoo, because if they had, Whoopi would have not had the mendacity to get on screen, lean into the camera and say that you, Gen Xers and millennials are lazy. That's why you can't afford a house, that maybe you should consider having a job. Well, the sad part is the average time that I'm out there on the streets, in hospital wings, in supermarket lines, I'm hearing young people talking about getting a 3rd fucking job. 3 jobs to make ends meet. Not to save money to go and buy land, not to save money to go on a vacation, Whoopi, but to actually fucking just not be in a tent in the streets. That's what they're doing. So when you talk about lazy, we as the plebs, the populace, the pedestrians of the planet, when a person of that magnitude says that, we need to start pushing back. Kind of like what we did with Haley Bailey with Let Them Eat Cake. Because in a sense, in a very real sense, that was her version of Let Them Eat Cake. Again, I'm going to repeat myself on a particular thing. If you've heard it, be patient. I'm going on to the next point. There was a young man that had set up his grocery cart in Walmart. Walmart, friends, not Whole Foods, not Trader Joe's, not Safeway, not Price Chopper. Wall fucking Mart. Supposedly the cheapest, right, besides 99-cent store. And had recorded that, oh shit, in 2022, my grocery bill was $125. Let me put all of that same shit in my cart. Came out to $415 fucking dollars. You now have videos on TikTok and Instagram of people going to the 99-cent store to eat $88 for 1 week of groceries, or $45 for 1 week of groceries. 1 week, $45. Nothing has got vegetables or fruit. Nothing. It's all shit. It's all prepackaged shit that will not feed their brain. It will not feed their cells. It will create the big C word. That's what people are living. Going to the 99-cent store and buying rotten vegetables if there's any left on the shelf. Rotten. 5 days old, and then it's sent to the 99-cent store, Dollar Tree, whatever the fuck you want to call it. That's what's happening to people. Oprah, Rock, Whoopi. That's what's happening to people, my friends. And so this lack of consciousness needs to continue. Needs to continue in us talking about it, so that we can shame them, not them trying to shame us. Because when Maui happened, there was a lot of shaming. Oh, please donate to $10 million. So and all of you are looking at each other going, what the fuck? Many of you spoke up. Many of you felt guilt. What? Jesus, I should just, even if I donate $1. Yeah, that dollar could be the difference between you being able to put gas in your car. No, I'm not joking. You've been there, right? Where all you had was $3 to put in the gas tank, or all you had was $3 to get to work. Yeah. So that's the reality, Whoopi. So we need to put these people under notice that their shit it stinks. Meaning that you may want to start boycotting The View. That's right, boycotting works. Boycotting has always worked. It's what the civil rights used when they had this Jim Crow law of putting people of color in the back of the bus. People of color stopped fucking taking the bus, and they sure in the hell paid attention. We need to boycott The View. We need to boycott these people. And we need to do it immediately. Because we need to express our discontent in their let them eat cake view. Right? Treating us like we're not doing the very best, and even beyond that, even beyond the best. Some comments were in this live were filtered. If you love Whoopi, yeah, give her all your love and all your gifts. Any questions on that? Any questions? Stay with me on what I'm talking about, please. Stay with me, okay? Because you're asking a question that's not good during this particular live, and you know who you are. Okay? There are people committing, unaliving themselves left and right because the system is broken. Let me share something with you without sharing too much detail. Somebody, a beautiful sister who could not do this anymore, couldn't do it sober, that's for sure, finally took her own life, okay? And had she had the $100,000 check that I've been talking about, funny how people, it's 100 monkey theory. Many of us are starting realizing that what I'm saying, what others are, a lot of us are seeing the same thing. If you can send $25 billion to 2 countries in 1 year, right? Then you can send me a $100,000 check and everyone in America, everyone. Had this girl had $25,000 to just get her head together, to go to Peru, maybe to do ayahuasca, who gives a shit, to journal her pain, to journal her life, to just take a fucking breather instead of trying to figure out how many jobs she needed not to drown. She would probably still be alive today. The 1%, and this system is so cruel, so bad, that it is making people take their you know what. Because even that's better than staying here. Because what's the point? So when you have ingrates, arrogant, let them eat cake mentality for women like The View, because they are disgusting. I wonder, I haven't watched it in, like I said, decades, so I don't even know if there's a reasonable female in that panel. I really don't. If I'm wrong, please tell me now. If there's somebody fabulous on The View and I don't know about it, I apologize. But so far, the alpha chicks that are on it, the redheaded chick, I forgot her name, I don't care, and Whoopi, and I don't know who else is on there, is really, really disgraceful. And for women, see, this is what pisses me off. For women to know the history of this country as a female, like in this case, 1955. Whoopi was born in 1955. You can't be born in this country and not know no one. There was no right to a credit card, no right to a mortgage, no right. I mean, you were lucky to get a job. You were lucky if you got paid a decent wage, much less an equal wage to a man. If you want to be feminist for a minute. And so for them to use their platform to shame the, not to shame the 1%, the lobbyists, you know what I mean? The politicians to the level, right? They're not shaming them because I would have heard about it, but no, shaming the young person, little man or woman on the streets of our countries trying to just hang the fuck on. That's it. That's all they're trying to do. Watching bankers get bailed out in 2008 becomes the history of these children that are now young adults on this planet. They've heard about it. They've seen a Margin Call. They've seen movies like that. And they know what happened in 2000. They're not stupid as people think. And so you'll hear of a kid, when I say kid, I apologize, someone in their 20s, early 20s saying, yeah, I quit. Why do they say I quit? Because they'll see a video of a person in their 30s, 40s giving a 2-week notice and getting everything shut down. They thank God a lot of you guys are taping, recording this shit, sharing it, and not being ashamed of what's happening to show the injustice, okay, of how these corporations, companies will treat you. So you give them 2 weeks notice and they pull the plug because they're pissed off. And you might be relying on that last 2 weeks paycheck. You don't know. They don't know. They don't care. They don't offer severance. And then you have people who are Gen Xers and millennials saying, I quit. You mean now? Yeah. Aren't you going to give me 2 weeks notice? About a week's notice. No, I'm leaving now. No, I mean, you're not even going to finish your shift? No, I'm fucking leaving now. Bravo. Bravo. I'm sorry. Yes, they deserve that. Because at the end of the day, if there was a car accident and the kid ended up in a car accident, incapacitated, the boss wouldn't give a shit. They'd hire someone else. And no one would come and say, do you need help with the hospital bill? Do you need help with your rent? Do you need help with anything? Would you like any help? Because we are the company that has employed you and we feel responsible for you in some way. It's called generosity. It's called kindness. It's called giving a shit about your team. Your team. You know, you're only a team when you give to them. But you're not part of the team when you need something from them. It's interesting how that works. And so we need to put a lot of these people on notice that they do not have the right to judge anyone that's on the boots on the ground. None. Jimmy Carter and his wife, Rosalind Carter, were certainly doing their best in the only way they knew how, by working with hammer and nails, Habitat for Humanity, building little houses for poor people, and they did it for decades. They did it, and they did not get paid. They did not want to get recognized, and they did it quietly for decades until they were too old to do it. I hope you know that about that president. That's a real president. That's a president who's a patriot, who loves his people. And that's all he could do. I mean, that's all he could figure out how to do, because the system is so whacked and so entrenched in bullshit that eventually you don't think you can ever change the bullshit. But everything that was unjust and cruel to its people eventually collapsed. It's just a matter, it just is. It's just how things happen. Nothing lasts. Not good, nothing great lasts, and nothing bad lasts. It's a flow of energy constantly. And so what I love is that if you put your shoulder into it as a people, right? If you bond together and you take in the boomers that are on your side, because a lot of us are on your side. In fact, we applaud you for your irreverence, for your fuck you attitude. It's needed. We should be able to demand a new system. Does that make sense? Any questions or comments? I know you guys want to be entertained on the twin flame journey, but I've done a lot of those. I've done a lot of those already. I've done 2. If you want to listen to that, it's on YouTube. But as a spiritualist, my job is to make sure that you realize what is wrong and pay attention to it and do something about it. Don't just, Whoopi was like, no, write letters, make phone calls. How dare she? I don't care if it happened a year ago. I don't care. Just like people that are abused when they're children, suddenly they press charges in their 30s. It's never too late to say you went too far. You're hurting us. And the reason why that's important is it puts them on notice not to pull that shit again. You want to call someone on the table for fucking up? Call the 1%. Call the senators. Call the senators who decided that it was okay to send billions of dollars in 2 countries that are fuck ups, let's be honest, instead of sending the money to our people right here in this country. And finally, I saw a post by a person, another young woman, probably a millennial, saying, I'm sorry, if I was Jeff Bezos with $177 billion, I would go, wait a minute, homelessness, vets without homes, children not eating, women with no shelter? Yeah, that's not going to happen while I'm a billionaire. Let me do something about it. I mean, finally, the 100 monkey theory of us awakening is in toppling this acceptance that, well, they earned it. They worked hard for that. That's not how it works. Do you honestly think the universe gives one person billions just to fuck around and kick rocks? And gives another person the talent to be a poet? And gives another person the talent to be a philosopher? And these are resources to be shared. They're gifted by the universe. And it is our responsibility to do our job, to deliver the messages of financial help. And I don't mean writing checks to charities. I mean literally getting involved. To write poetry that will heal the soul of the many who are lost in their own depression or confusion of their, I don't know, their ability to matter. That's a big one. That's a very big one. And philosophy, what is right, what is wrong? What is the nature of goodness? What is the nature of generosity? Why are these qualities important in society? Right? We are all tasked with something. And when we are tasked with something, right, it is our duty to actually deliver the messages. To deliver the messages, not to sit on it, not to wonder, not to ponder, right? And some of you are late bloomers, and you will be, and some, hey, how are you, James? And some of us are not. You know, some of us start with this journey of the awakening. But I feel like when you hear something, especially those of you still watching TV, still watching shows like The View, still watching Saturday Night Live, if it's still on, I don't even know. A lot of these shows, right? And something comes off wrong, insulting to people who are working so hard not to drown, that it is your duty to put that on the internet to let other people see it and go, whoa, hello. No, they're not getting away with that. They're not going to get away with that. We're going to talk about that. Very much like what happened with the Met Gala. The Met Gala was one incident. But this philosophy, this absolute disconnect to reality, you know what I mean, is constantly happening. And that's why I brought up Whoopi. I can't tell you when I first saw the clip how it really triggered the fuck out of me. I got to be honest. Because I thought, how dare she as an elder? How irresponsible for her to do that. Because some people are so fragile in their sense of self-worth that it could have triggered them to give up, to say, she's right, I'm a loser, all I can do is get 2 jobs, I can't save money, this and that. There are people, and I know you know that, living in their cars, saving up money to buy a piece of land, not even a house, piece of land cash, just to have a piece of land, and they're going to pay $10,000 cash, $15,000, $20,000 cash, and they're living in their car, they're sacrificing their lives, their comfort, their safety, because, now we've made homelessness illegal. They can arrest you, right, for cheap labor. And they are just trying to make do. Do you understand? And that's really important for us to honor that and to keep that protection of these people doing the best they can every day. And really shame those who have so much money that they've lost touch with reality. They don't want to know. That's what's interesting about Kennedy. He does want to know. So he came up with this Marshall Plan where he wants to talk about, it's not a talk, his plan is to actually eradicate poverty. Oh, it's not possible. Yes, it is. We just spent over $20 billion last year on 2 fucking stupid wars. Let's be honest. Of course it's possible. It's about saying, where should we cut the check? To the Ukrainian president's wife who's going to go to Paris to the Milan fashion shows and, order suit number 1 and evening dress number 2 with a tune of $100,000 just for those 2 outfits paid by you and me, thank you? Or are we going to demand that the money is actually dispersed to us and based on our economic status, right? Clearly, if you're 1%, you don't need the money. Clear, if you're 5%, you don't need the money. If you're 10%, you don't need the money. You get my drift? It's not hard to figure out who needs the money. Not to mention, we have people right now who are homeless who have no ID, no identification, right? Now, you and I both know that that can be solved. But because they have no ID, they have no access to any resources. I hope you know that. That means no food, right? No EBT card, meaning food stamps, no money, nothing. They're getting nothing. So they're panhandling, doing whatever they can to survive. And of course they're taking drugs, right? A bag for $1, a bag for $5. Would you be able to do this shit sober? Seriously? You can't. The average person can't even do 9 to 5 sober. They go home and they get a beer, a wine, a cocktail, whatever. Let's be real. Let's not, judge people who are on the streets on drugs. Could you do that sober? Of course you could. Not. So that's what we have to look at, is we need to be the people who demand the change. And once the change happens, there will be an ascension that is much more fluid, because when people are suffering to survive, ascending, which is an esoteric concept of going within, meditating, yoga, pranayama, breathing, working on your chakras, all of these things are more likely to happen for the ascension. Do you see how this is all connected? And for us not to talk about how the infrastructure is preventing a lot of our brothers and sisters from ascending, we're missing the point of how the 1% in the current system isn't working. It's not producing the kind of care and the kind of protection that the average human being needs to then sit down and go, well, let me read that book, Journey of Souls. Let me read that book, Surrender Experiment. Let me go in the woods and meditate. That's what we need to understand. And to be a spiritualist, and to be a spiritualist that has even the small platform that I have, means those are the conversations I'm going to have. Yes, I'll entertain you with twin flames. And I'll try to guide you with twin flames. I've walked that story. And yeah, when I say I'm an expert on it, I am, because I've lived it the whole entirety of my incarnation, from 18 on. So it's not like I don't know what I'm talking about. Not to mention, it's my career. It's what I've done with clients all over the world, different races, different, all of that. But if you think that separated twin flames from the story of the 1%, from the story of an infrastructure that's not kind, then you've missed the point of what twin flames are here to do. Twin flames, twin rays. You've missed the point of ascension. You've missed the point of why starseeds are being born here at the rate that you've never seen. And you probably are not aware. But these starseeds are coming in, and many of them are irreverent. There are crystal kids, but there are a lot of indigo kids that are needed. You've got dark empaths coming in for doing the wrong things for the right reasons, if you know what I'm saying. They're shaking up shit. Because the boomers, my generation, are still giving us dance moves from the 80s instead of having real dialogue. And some of us who are boomers, who are spiritualists, are having these conversations, and we're doing these content to talk about the injustice that we need to no longer accept. We cannot consent. It's that simple. And if you think that it's going to fix itself without some kind of manifestation, 369, meditation, and dialogue, and pushing bills, and pushing the system to change itself, then you don't understand how things have, you don't understand human history. You don't know. You need to educate yourself. Every major shift that created a new age was pushed by human beings who said, I do not consent to this, and this is what I want to create, on the wreckage of that. So it's been very important. It's very important if you're serious about a twin flame journey. If all you want is the nectar of the twin flame journey, and that's all you want, you will not have it, my friend. Because to be in nectar with your twin, you have to be on high vibration, a 4 to 5D platform where it will be lasting. As long as one of you is in 3D survival mode or egoic survival mode, then you will never be in lasting union with your twin. It won't happen in this lifetime. It will not. So what happens outside your environment impacts you. That's why when you go camping, you go to the woods, you go to the beach, you do something nice for yourself, and you connect with nature, meaning the environment of society is not hitting you left and right because you've stepped away from it for an hour, for 5 hours, for a whole day, and you're in nature connecting. You find your bliss alone. You're not even with your twin quite often, but if you are, it's even more blissful. But here you are, finding yourself, finding your grounding, finding your truth, finding your light, feeling so centered and happy, content. That should be an everyday occurrence. And it would be if the infrastructure, right, the system that we have was kind, generous, fair, balanced. And it's not. And it's okay to say that you have a cruel daddy or a cruel mommy, which when a government doesn't take care of its children, it's a cruel, it's like, you're a redheaded stepchild with a stepmother or stepfather. We need people who really love this country, really love its people, really want the best for its people, and are offering real fucking transformational solutions. So Kennedy was saying, my father, my uncle, and Dr. King, they were working on this thing, and we know what happened to all three of them. That's exactly what he said. I'm paraphrasing, but that's the tone of it. Which was what? To eradicate poverty, because it's by design. It is by design. I hope you know that. It is by design. It's done on purpose. To poorly educate your children is done by design. Right? To create cortisol in little children over sitting still, over taking tests every fucking year, feeling like they're losers because they're not good in math but they're good in English, or maybe they're not good in anything but they're good. Maybe they're great artists, or they're great singers but there's no or they're great musicians, but they wouldn't know that because there's no music department anymore in schools. They wouldn't know that, would they? They're great poets, but we wouldn't know that, right? Because we don't teach creative writing in high schools and junior high schools, do we? Or grammar school, for that. We don't teach comparative literature to a sixth grader. Oh, well, that's too advanced. No, it's not. It's called teaching a kid how to think. We're just testing them like monkeys. And some monkeys are very good at remembering shit, and some aren't. Because they're not monkeys. They're thinkers who have not been taught how to think. And they're frustrated because they know that something's wrong here. This shouldn't be like this. It makes me feel weird. It makes me feel like I'm not enough, not good enough. And so this concept of making a person feel like they're not good enough starts in schools. Quite often. Yes, it can start in homes, families. You're the golden child. You're the scapegoat. We know that one. But it goes further into education, where teachers are, once every blue moon, you'll have a good teacher. And you'll never forget them because they were so good. But then you'll have very, very bad teachers. Teachers that bully. Teachers that do insidious, shitty things to you as a scapegoat to the class and things of that. That does happen. And education is educating the mind, is not regurgitating things that really mean nothing to a child. Do you realize that there are kids that don't know how to write a fucking check? They don't know how to write a check. 2,220 cents. They don't know. They do not know how to do that. Did you know that? They do not know how to balance their checkbook. They do not know how to balance or figure out how to, minus what they spent, even though it doesn't show up on their account. So they're dealing with bounced checks all over, or bounced shit all over the place. Do you realize that there are kids who don't know how to invest into crypto? Many of them taught themselves, but many of them don't know how to do that. They don't know the currency exchange. They don't know the map. They don't know where Sri Lanka is, as opposed to Paris, as opposed to Ireland. They don't know Ireland is an island. They don't know Iceland is an island. They don't know that Greenland, in other words, they don't know where they live. They don't know the planet. They don't. They don't know about Aristotle. They don't know about Homer. They've never read the Odyssey. They haven't. That's something that will be taught in college if they're lucky to go, if they take that class. And that shit should be taught when they're 14 years old. They should be reading Brave New Heart. They should be reading, the classics, For Whom the Bell Tolls, at 14. That should be mandatory. My son was reading A Wrinkle in Time. Private school. So, we need to do better. And A Wrinkle in Time is an incredible story. If you've never read it, you should read it. Read it. Don't watch the movie. It's not the same. There are books that teach kids about what is good and what is bad in a human experience. What is valid and what is not. And it's great to talk about To Kill a Mockingbird. Great book. But if you don't talk about how Jim Crow evolved and you don't concentrate on damn near 6 months on just Jim Crow law and how it impacted and why the NAACP was founded and who founded it and his life And all, if you don't tell the whole story, you're speaking only half a story. If you, the following year when the kid's 15, you're not doing a whole history of women's studies, then you're not educating a child. You're not educating a boy. You're not educating a girl. You're not doing anything. You're just skimming over shit. Okay, chapter 9, World War II. Well, what happened in World War II? Do they know they were Japanese forces? That it were Americans while their family was being interned by Americans? Did they know that? So while we were fighting the Germans and going over, we had our own concentration camps right here in this country, including reservations, right? So unless we really teach history to children at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, fuck these fucking books coming out right now. We need to really, really talk about what happened so that we develop a whole society of empaths, of thinkers, of good people. So that in its own, racism will totally disappear. Because now people see people for what they are, people who've suffered. The Andrew Tates of the world, the red pillars, wouldn't have a fucking shot in hell. The racist, communities that are spread across this country with impunity wouldn't have a shot in hell if that's how we were educating our children. But we're not, by design. And if you can't see how that is connected to twin flame, twin ray, ascension, starseed issues, and the new earth that we're seeking, we can't have a new earth until we change the minds of our young people, and we change a whole generation of philosophy from a very toxic philosophy to a new earth philosophy. That doesn't just fucking make itself. And that's why the Hopi prophecy of the rainbow children coming together is massively important. Massive. That means we need to demand for it. And if you're not getting what you need for your child or grandchild, then you better start implementing massive, you need to take over. As I did, which I homeschooled my kid. Because, the system was just, it was ridiculous. And so when you realize how it's all intermingled, then you have in my opinion, a good spiritual compass. But if you only concentrate on one thing on the spiritual journey, your twin flame journey, your ascension journey, only that, maybe those two things, but not what's going around you that's impeding your progress because you're worried about the rent, the mortgage, a job, ageism in the workplace, homelessness. Do you get what I'm saying? If you are 1 foot in spirituality and 1 foot in just survival, it's not a good mix. It doesn't promote the balance that you seek for the new earth. You see what I'm saying? And that's what people really, really, really need to understand. And once you understand that, as a spiritualist, right? You can be a tarot reader all you want. I am. That's what I do professionally. But can you talk about only that? And if that's all you want to hear about, you have to ask yourself, why is this spiritualist not talking about X, Y, and Z? Why are they talking about, like I remember last year we had two spiritualists. I won't say their name because I'm not here to bash anyone. But both of them were fighting each other. Are you fucking for real? Fighting each other over what? Over a miscommunication, misunderstanding, impression, and you're going to make it go public? Maybe to get more views, maybe to get more follows, maybe to create a whole community that's for you and against you. But hey, even bad press is good press. Don't be manipulated by people's bullshit. And don't think that because somebody's wearing a Buddha bun and has malas on their wrists and, like fucking symbols of Ankh on their neck that, that they know what the fuck they're talking about. Sometimes the people that actually know what they're talking about, you'd never know in a million years because they look like they just walked out of a bank. Like, I'll give you a good example. Michael Newton, the author of Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls. Very quiet, laid back, the kind of guy you would never thought in a million years was going to write that kind of work and create an institute on hypnotherapy on LBL. Dolores Cannon. I'm not big on her, not really big on her. I have some problems with her, but that doesn't denigrate her ability to have actually marshaled millions of people to ask the right spiritual questions. To be honest, I don't think I ever saw a mala on her wrist. Never. Mala, japa bead, you know. I never saw her wearing saris. I never saw her wear a bindi or tattoos on her wrist. Never. Don't get caught up by how people look. Listen to what they're saying. It's more important. Because you get distracted. I saw a live recently where, no, it wasn't a live. Excuse me, it wasn't a live. It was a pre-recorded content by a content creator talking about spirituality. I swear to God. And you know what they said? I'm really sorry, but I just want to know, what lipstick are you wearing? What lipstick are you wearing? No, wow. Where? Do you have a book I could read so I can hear more about what you're saying? No, but she wants to know the color of the lipstick. You get the priorities here? It's a little scary. It's really scary. It looks like you've gained weight. Are you okay? Come on. Come on. So that's what we're dealing with, okay? So make sure, that if you decide to come out of the closet, with many of you are ready, but I don't know what you're doing. I really don't know why you think you're not ready, but okay. Many of you are ready to fucking start talking the truth and start banging your drums. But for some reason, you think that you have to look a certain way, do a certain thing, act a certain way, be a certain way to be accepted. You're not here to be accepted. You're here to speak the truth. Your truth and the truth. That's it. Doesn't matter what you're wearing. Doesn't matter what you look like. Doesn't matter. Do what I do. Cloak yourself. Look, it's what I'm doing. I cloak. I don't give a fuck what people think. Well, she's very dark. Well, she's got olive skin. What do you think she looks like? I don't give a shit. I wear red lipstick. I would hate it if I was actually doing a live. And one day I'm sure I will. And if somebody says, what color is your lipstick? I'm blocking them. I'll lose my shit. Do you get what I'm saying? Because again, read the room. Is this would you say that at a funeral parlor where somebody just lost their husband? I love that dress on you. It looks so fabulous. Who's the designer? You would never do that. Sometimes it's good to be somber. I think you were beautiful. I've had my heyday. But the point is, does that make sense? Does that make sense? So that's what we have to look at. How do we help the collective? How do we put these arrogant boomer women or other women on notice? Well, what we do is we repost their videos and we, no offense, shame them. You would say, well, that's bullying. No, what Whoopi Goldberg did was bullying to a whole generation of people, calling Gen Xers and millennials lazy. That's bullying. That is bullying, my friend. Do you know what I'm saying? And when they bully a young generation, there was this beautiful little black chick. Oh my God, what a cutie patootie. And she has been fighting people because she quit a job where I think she was making $72,000 a year. She quit on the spot, decided she just wanted to enjoy her life. Smart girl. Smart girl. I hope to God she goes into the spiritual path so that she can actually find her voice in that realm, only because somebody that with those kind of big kahunas, I mean, she's petite. She's like probably 4'11". But she's a firecracker. And people were giving her shit. You are lazy, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, no, I don't want to waste my life, my fucking life, working for a person that, wouldn't give a shit if I got sick, which is correct. And so these generation of these new people coming in, right? These starseeds coming in with these new programmings in them, right? They're new hardware meaning the body, right? It's new software meaning a new understanding that this is whacked shit. Like, I'm not accepting this, right? They're coming in with that attitude, irreverent as fuck, right? And they're saying what we needed to hear for thousands of years. And every time we would have a rebellion, and I'm not advocating rebellion on a physical level, but I am saying on a societal level, meaning we will shame those who try to shame us. In other words, if Whoopi Goldberg comes out again with her rhetoric about how these kids are fucking lazy, we would boycott the fuck out of her and say, shut up. You don't even know what you're talking about. You and your little high horse, you're in nosebleed section of being so far away from reality that you think you actually have something valid to say to us. You have nothing valid to say. Nothing. We don't need you anymore. And that's what I love about this celebrities junket of basically saying no to celebrities in a big way, is because we are more interesting. I don't know about you guys, but I don't follow celebrities. I follow many of you. And I love your content. And you're a lot more interesting than a lot of people that are supposedly famous. Like, Megan Fox is in a twin flame journey and they took ayahuasca. That's not as interesting as me listening to some of you. And I've done readings for you, many of you. Many of you. Because I've yet to hear Megan Fox use her platform to say anything for the good of the collective. Nothing. So who gives a shit? Twin flame, good, enjoy. You're no better than Liz Taylor and Richard Burton. They said nothing, but at least I understood why. It was the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s. No one was thinking like that. So I understand that. But when you're famous in today's era, which is the 21st century, and you're not going full-blown to boogie on spirituality, and your flex is having done ayahuasca, all right, that's your flex, that's your story, and that's the only story you got, really, because it's all you got. I'm not impressed, because I know people who have traveled all over India, Thailand, Bali to get their yoga certification with a knapsack, and meditating in these amazing places, and stories about how doing a yoni massage to a woman, but it was platonic, but it was tantric, basically made her sob and made her break open, wide open, into massive healing. And how you, as the caretaker of that woman's space, and how you honored her as a masculine, and how you would never do anything that was not for her, and you did it in such a pure way that she was ever grateful to you, and you became good friends, and never again were you ever intimate ever again, because it was a moment in time and she needed healing, and you were there, and you had the knowledge, and you had the wisdom, and you had the self-control. That's an interesting story to me. There's not one celebrity that's ever done that, just so you know. And yet I've met men, at least 2 men who have done that to women, 4 women, in a purely pure way. And I've seen women do the same for other women in other realms of just hugging them and holding them and letting them sob and sob and sob until there was no sobs left, and getting downloads from the Akashic records, and getting downloads of what that life was that she was sobbing about, so she could articulate to the woman she's holding sacred space for her, to let her know this I think this is the life that you're transmuting this somatically, but I'm getting a download that this is the life that you're actually re-experiencing somatically. And the person going, oh my God, yes, I feel. And then the downloads coming into that person, and that person coming through a massive shaking and quaking of everything collapsing, so that she could come out, rise out of that newborn. I've never heard any famous celebrity tell me that story, but I've heard people like you tell me that story. And I've heard I've done Akashic records where there was an Andromedan who came into this planet, and I've talked about this one before, because the way she fell is she just wanted to have the human experience, just for more empathy, just for more understanding of what it was to be a humanoid on this planet, like, I don't know, 500,000 years ago, before Atlantis was ever even born. And that was the first time she fell, because she lost her consciousness, because the 3D brain or the 5D brain of the human is very dense. Even 5D. 6D, 7D is when you know, and you know, and you know, and you are in a place of, it's almost like you can see everything all at once, happening all at once. There is no time. And you make a choice between doing something that is loving and kind, or dark. And you use those powers to subjugate people, which is what we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with people who have great powers, great knowledge, who are in 5D, 6D, who use it against us. Don't think that being 5D makes you kind. But what I will say, which should make you feel better, is that we will be in a certain, communities where only the light will be with the light and the dark will be kept from the light. And why? Because we never had to actually suffer this much. This was not the plan for us to suffer this much. We never needed famines or genocides or wars to make us kinder. We would have been able to learn what we've learned without all of that. We didn't have to have so many people be sacrificed for our growth. It was not necessary. We don't need to regret that and feel guilty about it, but we need to understand that the polarity that we're talking about isn't that. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you. Free Palestine, vote Jill. Well, I'm against Jill Stein, to be honest with you, because I've yet to hear what she has to say about poverty right here. And I agree with you. Free Palestine, absolutely, 100%. But I also know that we have a shit show going on right here. Absolutely, Free Palestine, have these people, they have the right of self-direction, of self-governance. They have the right. Who are we to take away their ability to control their water and electricity? Who the fuck came up with that idea, right? And who thought this was correct? But we also have an incredible, dangerous level of poverty on our streets. And we've allowed gangs. This reminds me of Wilshire Boulevard in California, LA, when they were letting a lot of gangs from certain parts of the world, coming in and just creating havoc in the streets. I used to work when I was very young, Bullock's Wilshire, on Wilshire Boulevard. And when the sun set, your ass had better be home, because they would come out and start howling and shooting and shit like that. And that's what's happening. It sounds like it's happening in Colorado. It's happening in different parts of this country. And this was allowed by design. By design. You know what I'm saying? So we need to clean up the mess that we actually financed for the people in Palestine, to be honest. Not to go too much into it, but what I will say is, from what I've heard, there are no men left by design. No men are left. You understand? And your average child is missing a limb. That's not fucking okay. And you work your asses off to pay for that bill? When you've got people right here who need a clean tent, fuck the tent. They need a fucking bed. They need a room. They need to be safe. They need their belongings safe. I had a friend who was given a room, right, that he could get. You know, housing, HUD. HUD will get you a house. Well, HUD has a waiting list of 3 years, number one. Number two, some of these housing are fucking dangerous. If you're an elderly person, you are safer in the woods than in those buildings, because first you got to get in the building. The elevator is broken. You got to walk up those stairs. Maybe you're on the 5th floor. Oh, well, right? And here comes a little thug that wants to prove that he's a badass, and you're an elderly man or woman, or you're just a young woman, or you're a pregnant woman with your toddler. And they know it. It's by design. They know it. And they know who the thugs are. And they know who their clean people are. Sweetie, you and I could sit at a table, set up a line, and we could actually just look at them and know. And yes, sometimes you can't judge a book by its cover. Sorry. Because we're empaths and we can read between the lines. That doesn't mean that a person with a tattoo on their face is bad. Don't get me wrong when I say that. Don't get it weird. It means that you pick up on the energy. You get nauseous, like a moldavite hitting you in the stomach. And you go, oh shit, yeah, there you go. Okay, you go to that table over there. That's that housing over there. And you protect. And housing for elderly people, no offense, to protect them, should be for elderly people. Meaning there is a HUD, and it's a whole apartment building with security, because they're elderly, with help, because they're elderly, and the whole building is just elderly. They're all elderly. We don't mix that with other people. And my friend, who was elderly, was not able to take, because it was not safe. He was safer in the woods. And that's what he ended up, in the woods. Just so you know. And there are women that'll tell you, it's safer for me not to be there because I could get raped. So maybe we need housing for women, single mother, just for single women. I know you might think, well, that's very segregated. Yeah, but right now we're trying to rebuild a society. And if we have thugs running around, running the place to the ground, then yeah, we're going to have to segregate. That means protect certain communities of women, single women, right? Elderly, right? And then we figure out the rest. I'm being real, because really who's suffering always are the children and the women and the elderly constantly, while we have to manage the testosterone rage of kids, young men that should have been raised correctly from the giddy up in public schools, and they never were. They have no philosophy. They do not understand right from wrong. They don't. And that's also by design. So when we look at protecting our most vulnerable, that will be our priority. And then, honestly, I'm going to tell you something that really, I've said it once before in a live, but it bears sharing again. When the LA Times used to actually write really fantastic articles, there was an article, a whole week's article series. They would do that. They would do 1 week on a certain subject. And this subject was about the kids in East LA. When you have a teardrop on your eye, what it means, right? I hope you know what it means. Anyway, so these kids were 15, 16 with, the little teardrop right below their eye. And girls and boys, they were sent for the weekend with Tibetan monks. Definitely language barrier, my friends. They did not speak Tibetan, and those kids were speaking English and Spanish, and they couldn't communicate, but they didn't need to. For that whole weekend, all they did was watch those Tibetan monks make mandalas, chanting mantras, right, in Sanskrit, right, doing those mandalas. And I believe, if I'm correct, they actually had a circle just for those kids to do their own mandala, right? They had taken the pictures of those kids right before they went into that retreat with those Tibetan monks for a weekend. That means 2 days, 48 hours. And they took pictures after. I couldn't believe it. Because you see, the killer instinct that had been in their eyes before, anger, rage, sadness, confusion, mostly rage, was gone. And I saw the eyes of children. Whatever this did to them, that weekend, they were healed, probably by the vibration of the mantras, probably by the quietness and the peacefulness of these men, by the sacred geometries that they were witnessing appearing, and the impermanence, because you know what happens, right? When they're done with the mandala, they wipe it away. Something that takes them days to put together, right? And that exercise showed us that the environment for young children, young teenagers, and thugs, I'm going to call them thugs because, I'm not here to be politically correct. Thugs, young men who have lots of rage, rebels without a cause. They're pissed off, uneducated, don't have a fucking pot to piss, and they know it. And so they'll do whatever it takes to feel alive, right? But all of that could be healed in one generation of how we educate these children. What we say to them, how we educate them, what we teach them, how we teach them. Plato used to take his students out you know that, right? They weren't indoors. All of these trainings were done outdoors in nature. So, why aren't we going back to some of the things that we know for a fact created great minds? Because they don't want to, by design. And as long as they have thugs running the streets, scaring the fuck out of most people, they have you controlled by fear because you're trying to just get to school or get from, your home to the grocery store safely to your home safely. See, safety is the main thing in your brain, right? Constantly. So your cortisol is running through your body and you're basically navigating through dangerous neighborhoods by design, so that you're not able to think beyond or feel beyond that circle of fear. Because if they really, really wanted to, right? Because it's kind of like a date with an idiot man who doesn't call you back. If he could, he would. If they could, if they wanted to. If they wanted to, they would. And they haven't. Because you see, I came to this country when I was 14 from France, from Italy, wherever the hell I was at the time. And the educational system has never been, it's been broken for, what is it? How old am I? At least, I'm going to say 50 years. Broken for 50 years by design. And that's why if you're a good parent, you make sure that you're reading to your kid every day and you're reading some very esoteric books. And it's on you. It's going to be on you. So I hope I answered that question on Palestine. I miss you. I've been MIA for over a year because the journey was scary at first, but I'm back. Well, welcome back. So let me read. Kimberly says, yes, the celebrity is losing their mind because we ignore them. Yeah, well, the more you ignore them, the better. Because honestly, you guys are the celebrity. You guys are in the influencers. You guys are the ones that have the power. You always have had the power. We've always had the power. But we never had enough self-worth to wield the power with wisdom. And now we do. Because we have compassion. Because our whole premise and focus is, how do we stop poverty? And then you'll have the boomers, the idiots, okay? God bless some of you guys out there. You know you should do better than that. Who say, well, it's always been just how it's always been. If women had actually listened to that rhetoric, we still wouldn't be voting. You realize that, right? We'd still be chattels. You get that, right? We wouldn't be able to inherit lands. You get that, right? The suffragettes were the reason why. They went in the streets en masse and said, fuck this. Fuck this. I have a right to inherit. If my husband dies, read every novel from Jane Eyre. Read Sense and Sensibilities, opening fucking scene. That was the reality of women. Read these books with transcendental eyes through the lens of the consciousness of how we were brought to our knees again and again from actually being able to topple the 1%, right? So when you realize your value and you realize that this isn't right, and you listen to people saying, well, it's always been like that, you say, well, it's not going to be like that not for much longer, my friend. not while I am breathing. That shit ends now. Poverty ends now. Genocide ends now. War ends now. That's it. That's that. And you might say, well, that's really good. How can we do it? Well, by doing what the African Americans did during the civil rights movement. That's how you get it done. By doing what the suffragettes did. You do exactly what doing what Gandhi did with the British. You get it done, though. And believe me, they get the message. Because it gets very sticky and uncomfortable. It's not worth the fucking juice anymore. There's no juice to squeeze. Well, how come it didn't work in CHINA, Tiananmen Square? Because there were too many egos and they all wanted to bang the drum instead of getting together as one fist. That's why. If you've ever looked at some documentaries on that movement, that's why it failed. It's actually quite obvious why it failed. But does that make sense so far? And ultimately, look, we have to be together as one force. And we cannot separate and play games as spiritualists. If you're a spiritualist, if you're a druid, a druidess, if you're a high priestess, a high priest, if you're a god, goddess, if you're a king, queen, in any of your feelings about your worth, then fucking say something. Don't just keep talking, towing the line of the same rhetoric of entertainment. I have all kinds of tarot deck, all kinds of oracle decks, and I do my bit for God and country by entertaining you, and not to mention hopefully helping you with some really good messages that are spiritually based. But we can't fix this by just playing with tarot cards and oracle cards all fucking day long. It's not going to work. You can meditate. But ultimately, even after meditation, as Gandhi rose out of his meditation, he had to do some speeches. Remember? He didn't just sit in a cave. He had to get off his ass and go, I need to talk to these people. I need to talk about organizing these people. I need them to stop the divide and conquer with the Muslims and the Hindus and the Sikh. I need to stop this shit, so I better talk. You see what it took? So meditation will get us to get grounded individually. It will also give you the ability to manifest in your mind, in your realm, in your inner world, the new world. Yes, it will. It will give you clarity and downloads from your guides, from spirit, right? And then you go out and you fucking talk your power, the power that was given to you as a messenger, as a Pony Express. In other words, delivering the message to the people, right? But if all you do is meditate and play with tarot and oracle cards, and we're not going anywhere. We'll be right here in 100 years. We will. So every movement took a movement. Every action demands another action. You take one step, you got to take another, or else you better sit down. We have to do better as a collective, and individually. You are ready to speak your truth and the truth. The truth is New Earth. It's not my opinion. It's not your. It's just, it is promised, written, talked about, seen. And then there's your truth. How does that, what's the difference? Well, the difference is how you spin it, how you interweave spirituality and the change that the universe needs to see us collectively and individually demand from our society. And what is considered normal is not healthy. That's why you have family trauma, because people won't talk about Uncle Billy's proclivity for little, you know what, and 2 generations get decimated by those kinds of silent behaviors. Toxic silent behaviors happen in the Catholic Church for hundreds of years. So we can't remain silent. And so when a star, celebrity, can you imagine calling him a star? Fuck. When a celebrity has the audacity to call our younger generations lazy or stupid, like some of them, a lot of you guys are pro Gaza, pro this, pro that. You were called stupid for having empathy. You were called uneducated for having empathy. A 2-year-old could see that there's something wrong here, mommy. Yes, what's wrong? Well, I'm seeing kids that are eating grass, mommy. Are they really self-defending? From a 2-year-old? To a 2-year-old seeing a little, mommy, why is he eating grass? Oh, sweetie, there's no food. Well, I see all those trucks. Why are they stopped? Well, because they're stopping it. Why? It's not complicated. It isn't. Let's not drink the Kool-Aid. Okay? Let's not do that. And so, as a spiritualist, it is your responsibility to kumbaya yourself and your body and your nervous system into a meditation, to ground yourself, to go to the woods, take your, go barefoot, wear earthing shoes, do whatever the hell, chant to get your head together. You're going to need it. And then it is your responsibility to come out of the gate like a lion and speak the truth and your truth without any apology. And if you get an idiot on your live or on, block their ass. You're not here to convince that the sun sets in the west. You're not here to convince them that the stars realign, that great kings and presidents have used astrologers to make massive decisions on battles, on moves, on elections, on speeches. You're not here to teach a muggle that though they can't see, if I'll only believe it if I see it. Well, here's the shocker. There are colors you'll never see, my friend, because it's a vibration so high, and this is science, you can't see it. Now what? There are sounds you can never see, though your dog can hear it. Now what? What does that prove? If you can't see it, you can't believe it. So most of the people that are going to attack you, you block them. You're not here to convince them of anything. You're here to give people like you the strength of character and the strength in their own self-worth to move into their own power, to start moving and shaking and speaking and writing poetry, art, whatever it takes for them to communicate to the general public to change the system as it is. Does that make sense? You're not here to, this is not a fucking debate. The debate happened 100 years ago. The debate now ends because we don't consent. So there you go. I don't want to talk to you about anything. If you can't figure this shit out, then I'm sorry. I'm not interested in this conversation. Well, then you don't know how to argue. I don't want to argue, dude. I'm fucking here to move the planet into new earth. I don't have time for your shit. I don't need to convince you of shit. You can't figure this out? Enjoy. Meanwhile, I've got people to fucking, manifest into movement. Block. You know what I'm saying? It's that simple. Yes, my beautiful girl. Yes. Time to start sharing downloads and trust myself. I was thinking about starting a podcast. It's helpful here to... Yes. 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 That's it. I don't give a shit what you say. Look at Joe Rogan. Do you think... Look at Eckhart Tolle, Joe Rogan, Joe Dispenza. I'm sorry, I wish I could give you a woman's name. If you have one, give me it. Because right now, I don't have a woman's name. Okay? That is of that level. Okay? Sadly, and not sadly, they're all men. Women who believe in the bear in the woods. Dr. Joe Dispenza would save your ass. So would Michael Singer. So would Michael Newton. Deepak Chopra would save your ass. So would... Do you get what I'm saying? How they're playing us against each other? Isn't that interesting? I think it's fascinating. But no one mentions those guys. No one mentions those guys. No one. By design. Everything is by design. That's why I use that term, because everything is it's done purposely to divide and conquer, to keep us splintered, fragmented from each other, constantly. Well, you're Muslim. Well, you're Jewish. Oh, okay. And move on. You can't chant a mantra? Oh, I have clients who are very devout. They're devout in their religion, whatever. And it's fine. I don't care. There's an old saying, all roads lead to Rome. All roads lead to God if you're in the right heart space. But anyway, so I remember having a couple clients. One was Muslim, one was Jewish, devout. And I said... it would be like you saying, well, I can't speak French because it was a Catholic country. Would you do that? No. I go, so chant Sanskrit. It's a language. It's a mathematical language. It's not going to impede your religious beliefs. It won't. And if they're that fanatic, you might want to check on who you're talking to because it's a language. It's like learning Italian. Would they tell you not to learn Italian? Because the Vatican's in Rome? No. There you go. Sanskrit. Chant. Because it has a mathematical high vibration. And that can help your nervous system and calm you and soothe you. And guess what they do? They come back to me going, I just felt it. Yeah, of course you felt incredible. It's vibration. So we need to do better in realizing that your voice may crack in the beginning. And all content creators have started from a place that was, maybe they weren't so proud of it, but here they are a year later going, holy shit. And then you look back at your first video, you go, or podcast, you go, wow, I've come a long fucking way. Jesus, I'm so grateful. Like, I'm so glad I did it. And then guess what happens? You start having people thanking you for saying something they've been thinking about their entire life, but they couldn't quite articulate it like you did. And they thank you for it. And you're like, in massive gratitude. Well, we argue against one another. They are working their plan. Rage bait by design. Beautiful way to put it, Cosmic Canary. Rage bait by design. Yes, true. Thank you for inspiring me. My love, how can I not? You're amazing. So, The Alchemist Moon. Yep, time to do your podcast. That's right. You cannot be a spiritualist and not intertwine the structure of our system. You cannot. You cannot. It is why so many are escaping it by not working by becoming influencers and content creators, by moving to Bali and living in places where they can eat the entire day for $10. And well, by the way, on a side note, and their room is another $10 for the janitor. There are people moving to Nepal, for Christ's sake, okay, and eating a meal. Each meal is incredibly complex. It's $3.50. It comes with a mango lassi, and their bedroom that they're renting is $15 a day. And it's got a balcony. It's got the views of the Himalayas, and they're happy as shit. And they go down to the cafe to get internet to do their content. I'm just telling you that people are escaping the matrix in all kinds of creative ways, but why we can't keep escaping a system that will gobble us up like Pac-Man. At some point we need to turn around and go, yeah, I'm not running from your ass. I'm that's it. It ends here. And that's why many of us at different age groups are being asked to not stay. Don't get that wrong, because I do want many of you to travel and to live in different countries. It'll be good for you. But what I'm saying to you is that you need to talk about why you left. Like many of these young millennials and Gen Xers are talking about how they're in Europe, how they're in Croatia, how they're here, how they're there, and how their life is so much better. Great. Yes, but where's the spiritual content to that? Don't just talk facts about the 3D world you live in. Marry it and interweave it with spiritual content. Interweave it. You can't be fully spiritual. Eckhart Tolle said something fantastic. Me and my twin used to listen to books on tapes all the time. The last book we read, just on the side note, which you're seeing everyone tape their mouth, it comes from the book Breath by James Nestor, and he was taping his mouth. He was doing this 2 years into it. And last book we read together on Audible and on paperback. Anyway, the point is, you've got these content creators that are going to be talking about why they're in France or whatever. But they're not, have you noticed, none of them are talking about what it's done to them spiritually. And I mean on multiple levels of what that means. I feel better now. I feel happy. No, that's not it. How do you feel? Well, I'm getting more downloads. What kind of downloads? Well, I remember past life. Oh, what kind of past life? Well, it was this past life. And I was in 16th century France and blah, 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 blah. And because I'm back here, I'm realizing there was some unfinished business. And it feels to me like I've just done like some soul retrieval here, meaning fragments of myself that was left behind. Damn near, how many years ago would that be? 440 years ago, or 424 years ago, I've been able to recapture myself. I feel whole now. I feel like it's time for me to move on. I'm done. See, that's what I'd like to hear. And I'm not hearing that. Are you? I'm not. Because in some aspects, it could be happening to them, but they're too afraid to lose their audience, right? Or it's not happening to them, okay? And they don't have a clue what I just talked. They don't have a clue. However, some of them, they're having massive fucking downloads, and they have 100,000 people following them, and they're afraid to lose their audience. You understand? Instead of realizing that if they could say that, they could gain maybe another 50,000 people going, holy fuck, yes, that's what happened to me when I went to Vietnam. You see what I'm saying? And I had a past life that was Vietnamese during the Vietnam War with the Americans. Yes, I remember. Holy shit, yes. That would be good. People aren't intertwining any of this shit. And that's where we need to make this common language. Common language of the common people is, I was here, I feel better now, and this is why, in a real term that I can say, holy shit, I could totally relate to that. And I've been feeling out of sorts. And I've been feeling Portugal, or I keep using Portugal all the, I've been feeling Ireland really, really hard, really, really hard. Maybe there's something I lost there in a past life. Maybe I need to go there, and I have divine appointments with other people, and I need to go there. I'm not hearing people talk like that in their expat videos. Does that make sense? So anyway, any questions or comments? I want to live this way. And you can. You can totally live this way. You can. And the way you do it is just you more and more, you'll go down the rabbit hole of spirituality. You might become a sound healing frequency coach and a spiritual life coach and You'll offer all kinds of modalities of healing. Do you understand? Like I became a hypnotherapist. I'm really fascinated by gong, right? Gongs, like love what they can do to you. They can either fuck you up or have you going into a DMT experience. I'm not kidding. I love sound frequency. In fact, our class tomorrow with Andromeda Flame is going to be about sound frequency. I have to write a quick paper on that, and on the power of sound, the power of silent frequency. This is my humble opinion, that many of the crop circles are simply sound frequency of the planet. I really don't believe they're spacecrafts actually landing at all. I feel as if you've ever seen the metal plates that they have when they show the frequency of sacred geometry, when you put a sound underneath the plate with sand, it starts having all these incredible, cool geometric patterns on the sand. That's what I feel happens in England. 75% of the crop circles are out of England, and it's called the heartbeat of the planet, England. And I strongly feel as if those crop circles are literally the resonance and frequency of the planet. In a particular, I mean, look at how it creates tsunamis, right? There's an earthquake in the ocean. Oh, fuck. Okay. Frequency is really important. And Gene Roddenberry, who was the writer of Star Trek, you guys remember that? And I keep bringing it up in a lot of the lives, but it's a movie that I really hope you'll find. And it's William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy who go back. I'm going to make it up. It's 3,000 years AD, right? And the planet Earth is dying because the last whale died. And because the last whale died and there's no sonic resonance coming out of the whale, right? There's no sonic frequency sound going. The planet is dying. They're like, oh shit. So they go back. And of course, Gene Roddenberry had to cater to a lot of idiots. So they go back to SeaWorld, right? To promote SeaWorld. And they are able to find a female and a male whale. And they kidnap them, right, is the story. And they beam them up. Beam me up, Scotty. They beam up these whales, drop them into the ocean, and boom, the planet its heartbeat starts kicking in because of the frequency of the whales. So Gene Roddenberry was massively starseed of the ass, massively advanced, had the first interracial kiss on TV. I remember when I was, I'll never forget General Hospital saying, is America ready for a black woman kissing a white man? It was like, it wasn't that long ago, my friends. In fact, some of you were born a little bit after. Many of us saw those kinds of stupid fucking comments being said. Like it was normal. Like that was normal. With the history of slavery, as we know, and mulattoes and quadroons being, it's insane to me. It's like, you people are full of shit. But anyway, with that said, what I'm saying to you ultimately is when you say, I want that life, you don't say, I want that life. You say, I have that life. People say, if you're a writer, I remember I had really good advice, and I wish I could give credit, but somebody said to me, when I was in my late 20s, you're a writer? Yes. Then say you're a writer. Well, I'm working to become, no. Do you write? Yes. When did you start writing? When I was 8. What was how old were you when you did your first whatever book? I was 10, short story. So you're a writer. Yes, I guess I am a writer. No, it's not you guess. You're a writer. Are you a writer? Yes, I'm a writer. Okay, good. Claim it. That's it. Make it. You're a writer now. And even though I had odd jobs, this and that, I was a writer. And it became true over time. Do you understand? I took it seriously as a writer. I didn't do it for the money, clearly, right? I did it for the fact that I was a writer. And because that was the nature of who I was, part of my nature, then of course I had to express part of my nature by doing the work, which is, in my case, writing. So if your thing is healing, then you can say, I'm a healing facilitator. It's my love. It's my passion. I'm a musician. I'm a singer. I'm a this. I'm a that. But you got to claim, I'm a painter. Okay? But you have to claim it. So it's not I wish I had this life. It's my life is. And I'm so grateful for this life. So you say my life is blank, blank, blank. I'm so grateful for this life. I earn what I earn now. I earn doing what I love most, which is blank, blank, blank. Does that make sense? And that's where 369 comes in, because it's repetitive. You repeat it. And you repeat it so that you can go over and pretty much hijack your monkey mind and do what you know. I knew you were going to say that about my comments. Speak it. Exactly. My spirit has become so irritated with the energies around me. Okay, Lana, read the room, please. So what I would say to you, my beautiful sister, is go ahead and whatever that is that you want, you're going to have to do 369 as a beginning, right? So 3 sentences a day of what you want. Please make the last sentence above the new earth. I'm not joking. You can, if you did this every 9 days and you changed the 2 sentences above, right, of what you want for yourself, but the last sentence was always about the new earth for yourself and the collective and your lineage, right? I don't know if you have kids. It's none of my business, but you know what I'm saying. Then you would be actually giving a great boon and a gift to the planet. So in asking things for yourself, 2 sentences, you ask for the final for the collective. And that's what we need to start doing as a people. We need to always ask. Like when I used to ask myself as a writer, why do I want this book published? Well, because I'll be famous. No, wrong answer. Of course not. What's the answer? To help people. Help them in what? To discover parts of themselves through what I write. Good answer. So whenever you want something, you got to make sure that there's something that is of service to the collective. Here's why. Because, and this is almost backdoor psychology, because if you do that, what happens is you'll value what you do, because you know you're not just doing it for your own pleasure, your own bliss, your own nectar, to be recognized. You're not just doing it for that. You're actually doing it to help the collective. And because that is actually the very thing that you answered for yourself, well, if what I do will do this and this for other people, great. That will motivate you not to quit. Because sometimes our lack of self-worth is so strong, we don't realize it, that we will do things to sabotage our success. However, once we know that what we offer is valuable to the collective, we realize I may not do it for myself, but I'll fucking do it for other people. That's what's interesting about that backdoor approach. Not to mention, why wouldn't you? Right? Why wouldn't you want to do it for the collective? Of course you want to do it for the collective. Right? So, I mean, honestly, if by the end of next week I'm not getting DMs of a link saying follow, check out my new video or whatever, if I'm not getting something that you've created that is saying something about whatever the hell you want, but it's intertwining spirituality with the system that's corrupt, right? If I'm not getting DMs from you guys by the end of next week, Saturday of next week, then I didn't do my job. Because by the end of next week, all of you should have something you've created that talks about the system, the 1%, or the divide and conquer, or healing has to happen with generosity from our government. Has to be kind to us so that we can think. Some of the most successful countries have 9 weeks vacation a year, paid for. Okay, paid for. Did you hear me? Paid for 9 fucking weeks. And no one is giving you side eye for taking those 9 weeks. You can take 3 weeks, one season, another 3. No one's giving you side eye for saying, I'm taking my 3 weeks. Here, as you all know, they will look at you like there's something wrong with you if you take a week. And a week doesn't give you enough time to stretch yourself, recalibrate yourself, figure your shit out, and then get yourself together, get your head together to go back to work, right? Okay, so clearly, oh my gosh, she's talking about socialism. Oh no. Well, okay, socialism. They're giving all our money to the wrong countries, who, by the way, are enjoying socialism under your dime. They have free healthcare, free education. Do you? But we paid it. That $20+ billion that went to those 2 countries paid for those services. One in particular, I think you know which country I'm referring to. Is that okay for you? Because you're not getting that. You're getting the Obamacare, the biggest hustle ever created by man. The worst system. I mean, you don't understand. When I talk to people, I don't talk about how's the weather. I don't know. I talk about this shit. You know why? Because I'm trying to get data. Oh, you got the Obamacare? How many kids do you have? I have 4. Huh. How does that work? Well, you know, our fucking deductible is like $7,000 for 4, and it's me and my husband and the 4 kids. So our deductible is 14,000, and unless we have a car accident, a major fucking fuck up, we're never gonna hit that deductible. So it's like paying twice. You get what I'm saying? So we need to like, socialism isn't what I'm pandering at all. I'm not even talking about socialism. I'm talking about governments that actually take care of their people. And I'm going to tell you something. The Danish, the Finn are much happier than we are. Way, way happier. And that's studies after studies after. Why? Because they get vacation. The kids don't have homework. They're testing off the fucking charts nationally and internationally. It's insane. And the reason why you guys aren't reading this shit is you don't have time because you're busy hustling, surviving, and just fucking chilling out after a day where you were trying to make your commission or your deal or that deal, or just or going to the gym to get your body stabilized, or you don't have time to read this shit. But guess what? Little by little, you're going to make time so you can share the knowledge so that the movement can shift the imbalance that we've been suffering for a good at least we can agree on 2,000 years minimum. And the fact that they're allowing children to work at 14, work laws have changed, marriage laws have changed. We've had a lot of fuckery going on for a long time that's been accepted by the status quo. Elvis Presley, with what was the chick's name? 14 years old. Oh yeah, the parents, they let him what? In the 1950s, they let Jerry Lee Lewis with his 14-year-old cousin. All of that, all the fuckery has been normalized to distract us, to make us second guess everything. And the system of government is also part of that fuckery. When corruption and deviancy is considered normalized in society, no wonder starseeds become addicts, because they know they're on the wrong. It's like a Twilight fucking show. It's like, wait, hang on, everything upside down is upright, and everything that should be upright is upside down. Like, what the fuck? Who can say this is correct? And so it's funny how they use little things here and there all over to confuse us. And I said it. You should look at my live yesterday, because it's all oracle. Actually, it's tarot reading with the sacred masculine's root chakra having been hijacked. I'm not going to go too much into it here. But when you normalize unfairness, deviancy, and all of that, what happens is you actually create a society that's confused. And because you're confused and you just want to fucking survive and not be in a tent or on a couch on a sidewalk in any country, zip code unnamed. You can't see how to get out of these situations. But when you have content creators like myself and like others and like you, because you're about to become one of those content creators, more and more that movement will topple and create something fantastic. The new earth. The meek shall inherit the earth. And the meek, I've said that many lives. But the meek is not the meek like I used to think. So I used to irritate the shit out of me. The meek is, you don't want violence. You don't want poverty. You don't want geno. You don't want wars. You don't want famine. The meek meaning you're kind. Bad word for more of a empathic. The empath shall inherit the earth. Let's rename it. The ones who know how to balance. And that's why many of you are starseeds. You're like, you've been on other planets where the system's not like that. All the needs are handled. It's seamless. There's joy. There's happiness. There's balance. Another planet will come in and start their shit, kind of like what the Atlanteans did with the Lemurians. Kind of like that. But the shift that I'm hearing from Lee Harris, a famous, he channels the 3 Z's, is that we are actually, the battle that we win here will reverberate across all galaxies, timelines, planets, and there will be a massive reset, and not for the 1%, but for us. Across, it's like a wave moving out of this deviant, awful shackles that we've all carried for thousands of millions, hundreds of thousands of incarnations, and it ends. And this is why this is such an important planet, and this is why this is such an important timeline, and this is why you have to open your mouth and talk from your heart. They don't want us to figure out that we shouldn't be at the job. Exactly. Joe Mess, thank you for the rose. That healthcare plan is a joke. I just went without and paid for care out of pocket. That's right. Most of us are. Truth, I'm so tired of work, eat, sleep. I want to spend time on what matters. Right on, Joe. Right on, 1111. Absolutely. And you know what? You have a fucking right. You're actually correct. You're smart. You're smart. You're smart. And the only people that are not smart, in other words, they've had to soften the edges with drugs, with alcohol and drugs and sex and porn and all of that, just to distract them from the fact that this is wrong. Wait, what the fuck is this? Am I the only one that thinks that way? I remember, I'll never forget one of my last jobs, just so you know. Years and years ago, because I used to have clients on the side and work. I never, until my twin said, what are you doing, man? Just do this full time. And I was like, I don't know. He said, and I remember him saying, I'll handle money. Do this full time. So that's when it really started, just on the side note. So what happened was I was going to work. I was working for a software company, and I heard of somebody who had committed suicide in their car. And I knew right away. I went, man, it was a guy. And I thought to myself, he wanted to do it right there. It made no sense to him anymore. I'm sure there was other things that have happened, of course, but it made no sense to continue. What for? To get up again tomorrow? But see, because he didn't have a compass, and I'm giving you a spiritual compass. It is yours, actually. I'm not giving you shit. Let me rephrase that. It's not that I'm giving you a spiritual compass. I'm asking you to pull the spiritual compass out of your ass. And I want you to polish it up. And I want you to actually look at it and go, where does my heart lead me to? Oh, over here. Good. Let me do that. Let me talk about that. Let me get vocal about that. Let me speak about that. But I'm not sure what I'm going to say. That's okay. Let me write some ideas. Let me meditate. Let me download. Let me get grounded. Okay, let's go. Let's do it. That's it. None of the content you see and that's not to pat me on. I'm saying you can do it too. And you know you can. None of the content on my profile page on Twin Flame, Starseeds, this, that, and the other are written. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm going to talk about until I talk about it. And Eckhart Tolle says, the power now, practicing the power now. He's amazing, right? And he said, sometimes I pause because I've learned over the years that if I have little index cards, if I write my speech, I will stumble. He didn't say fuck up, but I'll say it. I will fuck up. So sometimes you'll hear me pause. It's because I don't know what's coming next. I have no idea. So you'll hear. So have you ever heard him speak? He pauses in silence for maybe 2-3 minutes. And you're like, wow, heavy. Let me digest what he just said, right? You're thinking that's why he's pausing because you have no fucking idea what he's going to say next. That happens to me. But sometimes those pauses are really interesting because they're very powerful because it does give the person time to digest what you just delivered to them. It's usually heavy. And they're like, wow, yeah, right, got it. So don't worry about the pauses. Lean into the pauses, trust the pauses, and then continue. In terms of life, same thing. Meditate, sage, do your shit, ask guidance. And I started my life with Whoopi Goldberg. That was the premise. That was like the foundational, that was like the jumping board. And the reason is, as you know, if you've seen, or go back to the live, I'll post it up. You'll see it. It'll say Whoopi, shut up. It'll say that. And you'll see that how it evolved, because what happens is you get downloaded. Many of you don't even realize, and I didn't realize it until recently, I'm channeling quite often. And so are you. You are the messenger. Your throat chakra, you release it to the archangels and to source. You say, let my throat chakra be a messenger to you. Let my heart be the guide. Let me trust my heart. Let it be my compass of truth. It is really important that you keep the conversation going. Because when we look at what they were trying to do, when Kennedy is talking about the Marshall Plan to eradicate poverty, when the Kennedys were eradicated, as was Dr. King, within less than a year of each other, that dialogue of let's eradicate poverty was removed. He's having it again, damn near 60 years later, because no one took up the baton. So my point to that is that we cannot have a certain amount of content creators saying these things and then dying off, and then there's crickets. It's fucking silence for another 50 years. That's why it's important for you to flex your muscles and then to encourage others to flex their muscle, so that there's never any silence ever again until the thing fucking gets right, until we are in 5D and this shit ends. And the 1% can either fucking toe the line and do their business of being in service, or they can get the fuck out. And Mark Zuckerberg can live in his bunker. We won't give a fuck because we'll be happy. Enjoy. Bye. Close the door. Lock it. No one gives a shit enough to harm you people. We just want you to stay the fuck away from us so we can have our near earth life. So if you want to be in a bunker, enjoy. There's no violence here. It's just like, enjoy. Don't let the hatch hit you in the ass. So anyway, I gotta go. We're going to make it. We just need to know that our voice is important. Distraction from the truth. Man, I was down about getting fired 3 weeks ago. You're having me look at it as a blessing. It is a blessing. It is a blessing. I remember the job I told you about where the guy, I got fired. I remember walking in, and I knew I'm a psychic, okay? So I knew I was getting fired. I walked in, and my boss came in. He was a micromanage. Whenever they say we never micromanage, that's exactly what. Anyway, so he walked me into the office, and he said, we have to let you go. And I was fucking grinning from ear to ear. I shook his hand. I go, where's my final check? And he was like shocked. I thought I was, and I went home, and me and my twin celebrated. And every fucking morning for 6 months, I was like, I am so fucking happy. And I was laying out nude in a Hudson in the beach with the wisteria growing. I was getting my head together. I was watching bald eagles fly in the air. I was going boxing. We were lifting weights. I was getting my unemployment. I was doing my due diligence, wink, wink, to find a job. And then I moved to California. And listen, it's not easy to budget. But do your side hustle, my friend. When you get fired, is the universe saying, listen, you're not listening to us. So we're going to give you a tower moment. And because we're going to we're going to get your ass fired so that you can actually fucking finally do what you were born to do. Because you're not listening. You're in fear. So we're going to just take your hands off that steering wheel. Take off your hands. And they're prying your fingers off the steering wheel because you're going the wrong direction anyway. And they crash the car in a tree. And you're like, fuck. And yeah. So be in gratitude, meditate the fuck out of this. I mean, meditate. I was meditating 20, 30 minutes in the morning and in the at night before I went to bed. And I was journaling, and I use this time. Don't panic. Don't look at your bank account going, oh, fuck, it's lower and lower. Add zeros. You will find miracles. My son hasn't worked since we moved here, and he wants money, right? Obviously. And of course I give him, but we have everything we need, meaning I'll provide it, But anyway, he has been chanting Om Shri Mrim Klim Lakshmi Swaha, right? Which I think I'm going to have to do a video on that and post it up. So I'll do that. So don't worry. Don't ask me to. And 108 times. And I said this in a couple lives. We live in the middle of nowhere. Okay. You might hear cars. We live in the middle of nowhere. And he found $130 completely folded beautifully behind our house. No one's been here. No one's been here for years. Out of nowhere. And we've been going in and out of the back mudroom for months. And he found it. He went, it could have been the wind. I go, no. He went, what do you think? I said, it was brought to you. In other words, yes, miracles happen. I remember when I was unemployed, like you said, you're saying I got fired. I got a check for $1,500, and I was like, is this? So I called the insurance company, right? Whatever. And I said, I don't understand. They said, oh no, that's your check. We overpaid you. What? What? You what? Or we overcharged you? Something like that's what it was. And to this day, actually, I don't even know what happened. I can't tell you why they gave me a check, but I cashed it and it was good. And that was, So what I'm saying to you is, be in joy, be in gratitude. Say thank you in the morning. Don't say, oh shit, what am I going to do now? Don't panic, and miracles will start happening. Trust me on that one, okay? Trust me, okay? And then do the 369, okay? I create another TikTok to become a content creator. I join, don't know how to start. Just start. Can I ask a question concerning Twin Flame? No, not here. Not today. I have tons of stuff that you can look at, okay? Today's not the day for that. Good, Alchemist Moon. Yesy. Oh, Yesy, hang on. Let me do this real quick. Hang on. Let me do this for you. Okay, so I've added you as a moderator. Yesy, just so you know, because I know you. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for you, Alchemist Moon. Really, really. You're an alchemist. And the moon is fantastic because you're confused. You're like, how am I going to get from point A to point Z? Let me ask you this, Alchemist. Do you know what you want? What do you want? Make sure you, and if you don't know, and I did this, look at my lives on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, okay? There's some good stuff there. I mean, when I upload a live, it's because there's some good stuff, or else I won't upload it. I let it just go away into the ethers. But when it's uploaded, I know it's good, and I know it's valuable for you guys. So go there, go look at the 5 last lives I did. I'm not joking, because they're about the Akashic records and what I do when I do readings like that, but it talks about how we fell and all the various ways we fell. Each of our stories completely individualized. I'm not joking. It's the wildest thing I've ever seen. And then go into, you've got to work on your chakras. I have a video on that. I have a video on damn near anything you need on my profile page. You can just go down to guided meditations, sex magic, just go all the way to the bottom. If you don't know what my dog looks like, you haven't gone farther. You haven't gone enough down into my page. Let's put it that way. If you don't know what my dog looks like, you haven't gone far enough. Okay, that should tell you. And then scroll up and start seeing different things that grab your eye and start watching those. But definitely go to my YouTube page where I have those lives, and I have some wonderful lives with Andromeda Flame. So tomorrow we're gonna do a class. And it's going to be, I think, at 2:00. It's $23 for a class. And we're going to talk about frequency and how frequency helps. So when you do Om Shri Mrim Klim Lakshmi Swaha, which is how my son got the money I just talked about, I want to write music, then write music. And then make sure I want to heal and heal others. Absolutely. So figure out what kind of music and how. Look at... what's her name? Hang on, because I'm looking on my Chantress Seba. Look up Chantress Seba. Here, I'm going to put it here. Chantress. I know you know who I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure you do. Chantress Seba. Look her up. Okay? You can look her up there. She's right. In fact, she's on my screen. She just came out of nowhere on my screen on my computer. And it says here, Star Seeds 1111, 1 hour, handpan music, fantastic. Chantress Seba and Malti Martin. You could say this is very similar to Deva Pramel and Mita. Okay, very much. I chant Gayatri mantra. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. The mantras of all mantras. Good for you. But for money. Okay, for money, it's Om. Hopefully this is not going to autocorrect. Shreem, Reem, Kleem, Lakshmi, Swaha, 108 times per day for 45 days. Okay, I'm actually texting it to you, so do a screenshot of that. And then I need to go drink some water, but I wanted to thank you all. 23, my favorite number. I'm so happy about that. Go ahead, and if you have any other questions, let me know right now because I'm about to sign off. I want to thank you all. You know what to do. You just need to actually have confidence to do it. You need to just not, oh, I have to get all my ducks in a row. Oh, I haven't been trained to speak publicly. Oh, I haven't, bullshit. Just stop the bullshit. Just get out of your way and do what you were born to do, because whatever desires you are is what you were born to do. So if you want to write music, that's what you were born to do, and you're not doing it. If you were, you know what I mean? And you may have to have 1 or 2 jobs along the way, but if you focus on what you're supposed to do, eventually those jobs will fall away and you will bridge right into a full-time career doing what you love. Okay? Does that make sense? But, you know, just understand that. All right. Love you lots. Thank you, Chamber Realtor, Alchemist Moon, Yessie. Thank you. And again, it's right here if you need it. J-Hook. And who else? I feel like Romper Room right now. Purple Tiscadaro. Yeah, and Joe Massey, 1111. And yeah, we're all good. Okay? We're good. Do your thing, my friends. Next week, if I don't have a DM with something that you've created, I didn't do my job. I didn't do my job. And you're letting your monkey mind run your show, run your life. And as if you allow your monkey mind to run your life, you are allowing a parasitical energy to run your life. And you would never do that. You would take a parasite cleanse. The parasite cleanse in this case is called a mantra. Chant the mantra until you stop being coerced and jailed by your monkey mind. All right, sending you much love on your journey. Namaste.